Richard.
And I'm Lolly Swain.
And you're listening to The Way It Is. Headlines tonight.
Tory vision meets derision.
Mo, quit, go.
Olympic drugs in China mugs.
Nolan makes splits. Who gives a
Richard. A new campaign against the single European currency was launched by Dr. David Owen on Monday.
It's called simply No. And a spokesman for the campaign, Des Lawson, is with me now. Mr. Lawson, isn't this essentially a very negative campaign?
No.
Thank you. Also with me is Gilbert Brain from the government's Bright Ideas Unit.
All right, bonjour there, Rich.
Yes, don't get continental with me, Brain. Now, your Foreign Office Minister, Keith Vaz, has condemned the No campaign as undemocratic because it denies people the chance of a referendum. Is he planning a more positive response?
Oh, yes, Rich, he is. Keith has a number of plans. There's the Just Say Yes campaign, in which the mid-70s supergroup Yes will reform to tour the youth clubs and day centres of the country, promoting economic union.
I see. Good idea, Mr. Lawson.
No. Yeah, well, all right. Keith is also launching the Ditch Sterling event, in which Alden Day's racing driver, you've guessed it, Sterling Moss, will drive straight into a ditch, dressed as a pound sign, to the tune of Deutschland über alles.
Right. Will you be there for that one, Mr. Lawson?
No.
And I believe Mr. Vaz has one other idea up his sleeve.
Oh, yes, indeed. La pièce de résistance. Keith has recruited a G-list celebrity to present his most innovative idea yet. It's called the Vaz Doorstep Challenge.
And I believe we have a clip.
Hello, love. Would you like to swap your dirty old pound coins for some lovely clean euros?
Yes, I would.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vaz.
Shut up.
Mr. Brain, isn't Britain against you on this issue? Surely the noes have it as far as the euro is concerned.
On the contrary, Richard, you are forgetting the silent majority in this country.
And what are their views?
Well, we don't know. They haven't said.
Splendid. Just time for one last word from you, Mr. Lawson.
No.
Thank you both. An inspiring debate on a crucially important issue. Would have been nice. Still, never mind.
There was a scare for posh spice Victoria Beckham at the weekend when it was thought she may have contracted meningitis.
Doctors were initially concerned that the condition, which affects the brain, could have led to a rise in her intelligence.
Richard, don't be so rude.
Last week I didn't even know she had a brain.
Hush! On the line from Spice HQ is Miss Beckham's spokesman, Simon Empty. Simon, how is poor Victoria?
Well, we've told her to take it easy for a couple of days, Lolly.
Yes, away from all the dull drudgery of living in a mansion and counting her money, you mean?
Richard, the poor girl is ill.
Rubbish. Let me get to the bottom of this and then perhaps we can get back to some proper news. Mr. Empty, she's not ill, is she?
She is, and she's very tired. She's got a baby to look after, you know.
Oh, yes. How is David?
Oh, well, he's fighting fit along with the rest of the England team.
Well, that bad, eh? Now, call me a miserable, cynical old hack with no eyes, but I'd say that this brain bug was just a PR job.
It's a serious illness, Richard. Call it by its proper name, meningitis. Do you even know the difference between meningitis B and meningitis C?
What, scary bug and sporty bug?
Don't be ridiculous, Lolly. Look, as far as I can see, this illness has just been picked out of a medical textbook to make us feel sorry for posh spice. She's banging on about this all over the media. She even ran Capital Radio.
Well, yeah, that proves she was ill.
It's just self-promotion. She's trying to prop up her single, which is ailing faster than she supposedly is. And I'll go further. It's no coincidence, is it, that the Beckhams have just lost their court case to prevent their sordid secrets being splashed all over a new book?
I have no idea what you mean.
Oh, come on, Empty. This is just a story to get us on their side before it's revealed that behind closed doors, Posh and David like nothing more than to kidnap neighbourhood cats, dress them up, and force them to dance on a hot plate for the amusement of tiny Brooklyn.
How did you know that? Were you in court?
Now, I've had enough of this. Stop right now.
Thank you very much.
Oh, shut up.
Look at this newspaper, Richard.
What's Mel Smith doing on the front page of the Mirror?
It's Mo Molem, Richard. The The people's politician.
People's politician? What are you talking about?
Everyone loves Mo, Richard. She's a maverick, a lone gunner, loose cannon, a stray bullet, a ricocheting piece of red hot...
Yes, I get the idea.
And she's been stabbed in the back by faceless party hacks. It's a scandal.
Nonsense. I hate the way these so-called mavericks are lionised. What if everyone lived by their own rules? It'd be chaos and anarchy. It'd be like living in Wales.
Oh, don't be so boring, Richard.
Well, I'm sorry, but I just don't like independent thinkers. I know no one agrees with me on that, but there you go.
Well, this just adds to your long list of eccentricities, Richard.
What do you mean by that?
You know, I've been living in the same house as you for the past week, and I must say, you have some of the most annoying habits I've ever come across.
Such as?
Well, you take 32 minutes to clean your teeth, tooth by tooth, a minute per tooth, and then you tick off each clean tooth on a small map of your mouth.
And as a consequence, I have never had a filling, Lolly. And anyway, you have your own fair share of personal foibles.
I do not.
Yes, you do. What about the way you eat crisps, crunching them up into a fine powder in the packet and then snorting them off a coffee table?
It's a childhood thing.
All I'm saying is we all have our little idiosyncrasies. It's what makes us individuals. Be a dull old world indeed if we were all the same.
Ha, but you just contradicted yourself, Richard. You said you didn't like maverick individuals like Mo Molam.
I have not contradicted myself. I have explored a paradox.
Bollocks.
She still looks like Mel Smith. Why is it that not only are the French world and European football champions, they are now also better than us at another traditional English pastime, protesting? As the French truckers' blockade of fuel depots brings them lower oil prices, why was the British action so ineffectual? For a special in-depth analysis, we're going live now to Jackie Trent, who is actually at a petrol filling station.
Hello, Richard. I am here at a petrol station where even now many cars are actually filling with petrol.
So no sign of any barricades then, Jackie?
I'm not in France, Richard. I'm at the services at South Mims.
Jackie, how did the French truckers manage to get their government to capitulate?
They forcibly and dramatically cut off all access to oil refineries, Richard.
Whereas the British action was...
To ask people not to buy petrol on a Monday. Please.
And what happened, Jackie?
They bought it on a Tuesday.
The stiff upper lip and moral fortitude we have come to expect from the English consumer. We'll be going back live later to Jackie, who is actually at a petrol station. Earlier this week, an entertainer at the Millennium Dome took a fall of about 5 meters whilst performing in the Dome's main show. An investigation by safety officers has been hampered, as there were no witnesses. For more on our special in-depth analysis of the fuel price farrago, we're going back live to Jackie Trent, who is actually at a petrol station.
Yes, Richard, and I have with me Peter Evans, who is, even as I speak, putting petrol into his car. Is that correct, Peter?
Well, yes.
And what do you feel about the cost of this petrol?
Well, I think it's disgusting, right? Have you seen these prices? And, you know, the supermarket stations, they're not much better. It just can't go on like this. I think something should be done.
So, what are you going to do about it?
I'm not doing nothing. Oh, look now, I've done a dribble that all over the forecourt now. Look at that.
Jackie Trent, for the way it is, actually at a petrol station.
Thanks, Jackie. On the line from France, I have Monsieur Jacques Sons, a representative of the French haulage industry. Monsieur Sons, what can we learn from the French?
Apart from how to cook, love the women and play the accordion.
Yes, apart from that, why can't we organise effective direct action?
Because we are nature's revolutionaries. We had the Danton, Robespierre and Marat. You had Ben Elton, Alexis Sale and Sting.
Fair point, Monsieur Sons, sir. Thank you.
Oh, goody, it's my favourite part of the programme now, when we hear from our newest team member, Kent Clark.
Oh, joy.
Hi, Kent.
Hi, Lolly. Tigress.
Have some dignity, woman. You're supposed to be celibate. Richard.
So, how have you enjoyed your second week on the show, Kent?
Well, Lolly, it's been a bit strange waking up each morning, throwing back the old black silk covers of my four-poster waterbed. Standing before my full-length sandalwood designer mirror, buck stark naked as the day I was born, Not having to think, Kent, Mel, chum, today might be the day you get your chips.
So you're going on a diet at last, are you?
Don't be silly, Richard. He's talking about death, about facing the Grim Reaper. Kent's been in loads of wars, haven't you, Kent?
Well, you know what they say, Lolly. War is a greedy bitch with bad breath. A little bit like Anthea Turner in that respect.
It must be a bit boring for you here after all that excitement.
Yeah, well, you know, it's not like the time I was in the Falklands.
Oh, yes, holiday, was it? Bird watching with Bill Oddie?
I can't really go into it, Rich. If I told you, I'd have to kill you.
Gosh, would you use your bare hands?
I'm not carrying any other weapons.
Every little indiscretion, every little sin, his beady eyes on you in a way that Channel 4 can only dream of. And I find that not only comforting, but oddly exciting. But then perhaps I'm just a hopeless exhibitionist. Anyone fancy a shag?
Regular listeners may remember that last week, The Way It Is commissioned the Frinkland Mint, purveyors of those delightful, cute animal-based decorative plates, to create a series of handcrafted gift news plates especially for us.
And so far we've managed to sell upwards of 3. So, we've commissioned a new design.
The Frinkland Mint presents The Way It Is news plates. Each treasured piece comes illustrated with a different news story, painstakingly and lovingly created by one of the UK's worst artists.
This week we're offering an original design called simply Her First Asteroid, which charmingly depicts the destruction of the planet by a rogue comet. Beautifully crafted, the fleeing population of Earth are detailed here, being incinerated by the shockwave of approaching death, their screaming, burning faces lavishly embellished with a coating of up to 6 karat gold.
And looking down from heaven is Princess Diana, giving a helping hand to a fallen orphan child caught up in a terrible, sickening, fiery death.
And there's a little charred kitten in the corner as well. With these exclusive, individually numbered, limited edition news ornaments, we strive to touch the hearts and pockets of insensible pensioners everywhere.
Only 200,000 of them have been made, so hurry. Remember, you need send no money now, but very soon you'll be invoiced for £200 as a first instalment.
Beautiful. If you want one, then write to us at the usual address.
Or take a bath with a toaster, whichever you think best.
Olympic fans have got a new hero in the shape of plucky Ghanaian swimmer Eric Musambani, who won his heat in the slowest time ever.
Indeed, so touched was I that I have penned a haiku to celebrate his completion for the full 100 metres. Eric, you embody Olympic ideal. Not to win, just not to drown.
Gosh, well done. That went,
Swimmingly?
at a crawl, I was going to say. According to Labour, there were dark forces behind the petrol crisis. Here to fuel these rumours is our conspiracy theorist, Colin Nichol.
It's safe to come out.
Get out of the box, Colin.
They're not here, are they? The Stasi SWAT squad?
No, Colin. Just give us the inside gen on who's really behind the petrol shortages.
Come on, work it out for yourself, Lolly. The group who gained most from the crisis were...
The Tories?
Well, you're getting there, and...
The oil companies?
Not just the oil companies, but an organisation so secret it has no name. It's known only by the Arabic symbol for a particularly violent glottal stop. But the Tories and the... just bit players, Lolly. Who is it that gains the most from the crisis?
I'm running out of ideas, Colin.
Come on, it's so obvious, Lolly. The crisis took us right back to 1973, didn't it? Now, who was the dominant power in 1973?
I don't know. Nixon? CIA? Leonid Brezhnev? OPEC?
Roy Wood.
What?
It was Roy Wood from Wizard, wasn't it? Inspiration and icon for millions, but in reality a twisted, evil genius with a massive brain and no sense of rhythm.
Roy Wood's behind the biggest energy crisis for 20 years? I didn't even know he was still alive.
Of course you didn't. He's been living a double life, hasn't he? Use your eyes, Lolly. I mean, it's 30 years on. What would he look like now?
I don't know. Older?
Yes, and?
Bolder?
Yes, so?
You're not saying Roy Wood's come back as William Hayes,
Yes!
are you?
Shh! Don't say I told you.
Back in the box, Colin.
2000 Olympics has kicked off this week and ran into controversy before the first beach volleyball player's gusset had been plucked at.
Many were outraged by the opening ceremony, which made great stock of the Aboriginal heritage of Australia.
A heritage that many say Australia has done its best to destroy. So, are the Aboriginals right to feel aggrieved? Our correspondent James Gravelax has been living in the outback community of Ramalama Billabong for the last 3 years. He joins me now. James, what have you made of the natives of this bare, brutal environment?
Bare and brutal is right, Richard. Though some may applaud the apparent simplicity of their culture, these are by any standards an incredibly primitive people, as may be judged from their diet, their music and their use of leisure time. The first consists almost entirely of pies, though the Ramalama Billabong Sports Bar does offer such rhyming delights as surf and turf, which is in fact a platter of prawns and beef, rather than the salty, foamy, grassy, earthy mess it suggests. Their music occasionally stretches to groaning down a pipe or knocking two sticks together, but it's far more often limited to Guns N' Roses tribute bands. For relaxation, they sit around all day drinking cans, or, in the language of these people, tinnies of beer, and watching lightweight soap operas set in far-flung exotic locations such as Weatherfield, Walford and the town of Hollyoaks.
Yes, I think you're describing the more recent arrivals in the continent there, James. What about Australia's truly native population, its original custodians? Do they seem to you as badly treated as some have claimed?
Well, if they are, Richard, they certainly don't show it. They bounce around all day long looking happy as Larry, whoever he is, and who can blame them? For with their lovely long tails, their handy little pouches, and marvellously communicative twitching noses, nature has sure
Yes, James.
smiled down on the Aboriginal...
James. Now you're talking about kangaroos. I meant the original human population. Ones who lived there for 40,000 odd years before the white man came, the Aboriginal people.
Aboriginal people?
Yes.
What, actual Aboriginal people here in Australia?
Yes.
Oh, Christ! Right, well, let's see. Scenes of terrible devastation here, Richard. Eons old culture reduced to gift shop banality and everything. Yeah, it's really bad.
Thank you, James. The Olympic Games has opened in Sydney. Our correspondent Lloyd Fisher was there and joins me now. Lloyd, first gold medal?
Jason Quealy.
How'd he look?
Stern and steely.
Celebration?
Did a wheelie.
Friendly bloke?
Touchy-feely.
Party after?
Buffet mealy.
Lots of champers?
Blowing freely.
Crate of calves?
Young and veely.
Cellulitis?
Orange peely.
Fens Cathedral?
Must be Ely.
Bucket... Boom.
That's Swahili.
Thanks, Lloyd.
Righto.
I'm Richard.
And I'm Lolly Swain.
And that was The Way It Is.